Let's just jump into it, shall we? Some Jeskai Feather. Jeskai refers to the color combination of red, white, and blue, and Feather refers to our namesake card here. Feather redeemed. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that spell instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, put it back into your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So we pair Feather with cards like Reckless Rage, God's Willing, Fight is One, and Defiant Strike to generate lots of card advantage. This deck tends to excel against creature decks that don't contain a lot of removal in them, because you'll get Feather set up along with something like Reckless Rage to allow you to constantly kill your opponent's stuff. We have a small blue splash in our deck for a couple of cards in the main deck. We got Dorat, the Perfect Pet, which is an additional evasive threat that's also very similar to 10th District Legionnaire, and then a couple of Stormwing entities. But namely, the real power from the blue splash comes out of the sideboard in that recently unbanned Disdainful Stroke, I think, is a fantastic card to have access to. This counters Muxus and other key cards against goblins like Kranko, as well as being good against the various ramp decks in the format. So it's lovely that this card, you'll never pass the turn holding up Disdainful Stroke in Historic and have your opponent cast Time Raveler instead, which is nice. So let's go ahead and jump on into some matches with this and see how it goes. This is one of the decks that's up on my website. I've had this one in the high potential category because it's felt pretty reasonable last few times we play it. We'll see if it gets to retain its spot there after our play today, or if it gets demoted. Half Historic is just a bit. Yeah, it feels like it. Mr. Tasty, thanks for the 29 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Crickerfer, thank you for the 2 entire years of support. I appreciate it. Easy mulligan. Alright, seems pretty good. I think I just hope they can't kill this. I think I need to keep the Defiant Strike on a mulligan. Yeah, 2 of the 3 decks we played were good. The 3rd deck kind of got run down, but that's just going to happen sometimes. Sometimes decks just aren't reasonable. Perhaps going to have a little bit of wrong half problem here. We'll see if they are a controlling deck off of that. If so, we're going to regret keeping the Reckless Rage and drawing another one. The quality of the deck is usually indicative of if we had fun or not, a lot of the time. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. So we're going to dig for a protection spell here. I think I'll take another threat. Really, really wish we would have kept God's Willing here as opposed to Reckless Rage. Again, when you're playing interactive decks in Magic, you just don't get to make informed mulliganing decisions in your first game, so you're going to have a lot of games where you get this kind of wrong half problem or keep the wrong cards just speculatively. Okay. Fight is One is the singular best draw on our deck here. Would let us counter their Shatter next turn. Or their Kaya's Wrath, whatever 4-mana sweeper they have. They haven't just windmilled the card, so maybe they don't have the 4-mana sweeper. It's really unfortunate that this card can't hit Planeswalkers. Definitely need to kill Narset here before she digs them deeper.
I shall miss your company.
Everyone's playing Flash now, something like that. Dude Light, thank you for the tip. I appreciate your generosity. For Turbo Deep, currently sitting at 80% win rate in matches according to Mobalytics. Do you know what the sample size is on that, dude? Meant to say I've kept subscribed even though Standard isn't a place I want to watch. Historic aggro decks. I like historic aggro decks. So he says as he stares down a Teferi that's going to kill him. I guess we're attacking this, huh? Or are they going to do this before I declare attacks? Please minus your Teferi before I declare attacks. So this can -3. Wait, what? So this is dying anyways here, right? Face is lethal, provides protection. No, face is not lethal. If I cast this, they -3 Teferi in response, and I lose my thing and I don't kill them. Okay, well now I don't have to God's Willing, because this is dying. I can't cast these without them having a creature, so I can't just, like, generate triggers. So the 10 months Pittsburgh Phil. I was actually surprised. So, by the way, I guess maybe I should put a command in the title for that, too. I sent out a sub-survey last night for folks that support the channel. If you didn't get that in your email, check your spam folder. If you don't see it there, check, if you don't see it there, check in the subscribers Discord server. Alright, so this should be lethal, right? Yeah, it was lethal if I attacked face and they -3, which they're pretty unlikely to do. Alright, opponent had a whole lot of nothing, so you get to board in Disdainful Strokes, and Mystic Disputes, and Adantos. My sideboard plan for this matchup is, I'm not quite 100% sure what to do. Like, obviously, like, these are fine trims. What's my last cut? We used to cut Dreadhorde Arcanist, but, like, Dreadhorde Arcanist is functional in this matchup now because they banned Teferi, which is nice. Do I trim Stormwing Entity? If I'm cutting Shock, Stormwing Entity becomes less good, and I'm bringing in Adanto Vanguard. It's probably fine. You know, I think not having 4 fight as one in the 75 might be a mistake. I might want a 4th one of those. Hey, Sakuo, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Easy mulligan here. Yep. So Adanto Vanguard is just like one of our best cards in this matchup, and they're on the play, so we're definitely keeping both of these. That way when we get Thought Erasured on 2, we still have one to play out. The pin schedule is wrong on Twitter. It definitely probably is. Yes, I did not unpin and repin when I tweeted my updated schedule. Thank you for that. Pin schedule now accurate. Sorry about that, Mecca. And you bump Jeskai enchantments, you definitely can, Pittsburgh. Maybe I'm not supposed to play that there. If they're holding up Absorb. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to play Legionnaire unless I draw another, We're just going to hold up these Disdainful Strokes, especially since we drew a second one here. And the Absorb's not really a big deal. Actually, someone was talking about that with Teferi Band 2 and there being like more linear decks like Goblins and Aggro. Combo Pod Mom is probably a deck worth revisiting in Historic. Nice, White Sticks. Yeah, we won last game after we mulliganed to 5, and then our opponent, and we drew 2 Reckless Reaches. Because Esper Deck did Esper Deck things and just rolled over. Wow, that's... Okay. Well, that is not a card that was on my radar. I think it's that big of a deal. Where's the sub-survey in Discord? It's always in the announcements channel. Hoping to fade Disfigure here. Looking for another God's Willing sounds great. Thought Erasure away, friendo. Well, to be fair, I wasn't live when the ban announcement happened. Thanks for the 1.5 years, Gindy. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm in for Dispute. I have 3 mana. It's basically just cancel. Your move, Yugi boy. So they can play a piece of spot removal that Disdainful Stroke can't counter here, but so long as they don't have, like, double 2 or 3 mana removal, we're in an okay spot. Hey, thanks for the 6 months, Stanich. I appreciate that. As you can see from the schedule above, we're going to continue with daily Runeterra content starting today. My full schedule is up on my website and my YouTube and my Twitter and the subs Discord, all that jazz. Gendy, thank you for the 1.5 years. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Maybe it's wrong not to kill this. Definitely disputing this, so this way, I don't know. Am I definitely disputing this? I guess it's probably about a wash. Maybe that's wrong, so they know about both these cards. They have a piece of 2 mana spot removal, we die here. Yeah, they're trying to get the stroke. Alright, it's a good start. It's a good start. Man, these control decks are way less miserable to play against when you can, like, respond to their plays, huh? Weird how that works. Putting spells on the stack feels great. Yep. Well, we haven't had a lot of keepable hands so far, but our 5s have been real good, I suppose. Resource variance still something. Maybe I'm supposed to keep a 3rd land there. Our opponent plays like an Arboreal Grazer this turn, so I can like Defiant Strike their creature and then Stormwing Entity. He says before he gets Thought Erasure. Other Sun Growth Spiral, sure. Well, really glad we bought him to land now, huh? T-Smart, thanks for the 3rd of a year, welcome back. Enjoying your content on YouTube for a while, but finally subbed last night with my wife's Prime Hoaglandia forever. Thanks, DMA. I really appreciate that support. I wouldn't be here without the support of folks like you. Well, we're gonna have a 5-mana Stormwing, chat. We're gonna have a 5-mana Stormwing. Quintivus Flavius, thank you for the 16 months. Welcome back. You know, this could definitely change as the format develops. People are definitely excited and exploring things, but there have not been a lot of copies of Embercleave recently.
Nothing else matters.
Like, the card definitely exists, but like, as far as like what other people have actually been playing, it's a very good top deck, especially with these. Eternal Witness, thanks to the 26 months. It feels like longer with the free round, yep. We're free! I'm free!
Welcome to my domain, Planeswalker. Your heroics are but a dream.
On what's about to happen.
Okay, so let's start here. Let's Defiant Strike this, draw a card. You know what, Never Kept 7, if I'm being honest, so when I decided that I was going to take a break from Magic, I also like didn't just stop playing Magic. I also like unfollowed Magic things in a bunch of places. I unfollowed a bunch of Magic stuff on Twitter. I obviously stopped reading the Reddit and stuff. And like, honestly, I didn't refollow a lot of the Magic stuff I had on Twitter before. I definitely think that the attitudes of people like that complain when good things happen, like, it really just brought down, like, it made the game being frustrating even worse. Like this is just like, why are you here? And I kind of talked about, and I kind of mentioned this today in a post that I had on one of the subreddits, or on Twitter, which is that, like, well, you know, whenever there's a good idea posted, people are always like, well, Jeff, that you can't do that good idea because MTG finance. And it's like, it's a reality, right? And I don't know that Magic has necessarily a great future as, like, I worry about Magic ever not consistently having balance issues when every part of the game has to be subject to MTG finance. And like, even Arena's not really divorced from that concept, right? Like, with Arena is so expensive that, you know, they ban one card from your deck and you have all these other cards that are then left unplayable. And it's tough. Solanas, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. See, I think I'm gonna mostly just do my best to like tune out all other Magic related stuff from here on out for the most part, and just focus on playing games when I enjoy them.
Being ruthless.
Well, I mean, and like part of it too, like, it's not even just like, when I say MTG finance, it's not even just limited to people speculating on things is an important thing to understand. Like, we're just super dead. Like, there are people who genuinely just want to play Magic, but like, the core game itself is so expensive that, like, you know, when bans happened, those people get pushed out of the game, not because they were speculating, but because they just like can't afford to play after their deck is removed. I think we're boarding very similar to the Esper deck, bringing in Strokes and Disputes here, extra Vanguards. They have Languish as their sweeper, which makes Vanguard a little bit worse, but Vanguard's at least good against their spot removal still. Keepable 7. I almost wasn't sure what this looked like at this point. Sand's actually just genuinely very good, huh? We have both of these with this too. And part of it's just greed too, Bender Butts, right? Like, MTG Arena's economy has nothing to do with the fact that it's tied to a paper game, right? Like, it's very possible for Arena to be more consumer friendly without negatively impacting the paper game. Arena's just not more consumer friendly because they don't have to be. Inhumane Rabbit, thanks for the 3/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. You think Arena's better than Hearthstone? Yeah, but like, I also am not a fan of comparisons like that. Like, this bag of dog poop smells less bad than that bag of vomit doesn't mean either of those things are pleasant, right? I think I'm bottoming this and looking for another card that can work with Feather. It's a quality statement. And that's something that doesn't even just happen with Magic, right? Like, something that's very common is people are like, this thing is less bad than this other thing, so it's fine. When in reality, you should be like, well, instead of being less bad, why don't we try to just make it good? Like, is making it good an option? I think we're definitely just holding up Stroke here. These decks are so great when you just, like, can actually have counterplay. The CEO of our company just gave everyone election day off with a note, this may be the most important election of our time. Your CEO is not wrong. Alright, so we're hoping to draw something to trigger Dorat so I can have 2 lethal attackers here next turn. Is time off to vote not legally protected in the United States? Well, so, yeah, lethal. You technically can't... I believe you can't fire people for that, but they also don't have to pay them, and they can make your life difficult for utilizing it, I believe is basically the policy in most places. What you need to understand about the political system in the US is that one of the political parties in the United States stands to benefit from people not being able to vote. Yeah, a lot of states are also considered at-will employment states. They can fire you at any time for any reason. Yeah, basically none, Saphian. Yeah, basically none. Yeah, they can coincidentally fire you for some other reason as well. Correct. Cedrus, the Entertainer King. Thanks for the 1/4 of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, most states are at-will states, I believe. It's going to be interesting to see. I saw some pictures circulating the Twitter sphere of schools that were opening in the United States yesterday and today. It'll be interesting to see what those look like 2 to 3 weeks from now. So far, the main deck shocks that we're playing in this configuration haven't felt great. In the previous iterations of Feather, we played some Ops in the main deck to enable the 3/3 prowess creature better. And those, I definitely am feeling like I'm missing Ops playing against a couple control decks to start. Hopefully we find some aggro before this set is done to see how the shocks feel there. Yeah, Christy and I sent our notice to the local school district today, letting them know that our kids would not be back for the fall semester. Our school district is being nice, thankfully, and they're letting parents reassess come January. So, you know, like, on the incredibly off chance that all of the experts are wrong and none of this is a big deal and opening schools will be fine, we'll send our kids in January. But in reality, where we live, I'm not expecting most of the schools to stay open more than a month. Really want to draw an untapped land here. I think I'm going to do this and then Defiant Strike here, try and dig to some mana. Yep. Really want to draw an untapped land. Okay, nailed it. I think I want to get Dreadhorde Arcanist down here, so that way I can flash back Defiant Strike next turn. Eliminate. Eliminate. I'm going to do this in response so they can't take it. If they had a removal spell there as this blank card, I would be in trouble there, but they didn't, so that's great. Defiant Strike's probably the best draw on our deck here. I'm going to hold on to this land because my opponent's deck is playing 5 mana Ashiok. So if they play Ashiok and bounce this, I can exile the land instead of my Fight as One or my Feather. It's a good draw after I attacked last turn. Hopefully they drew a removal spell now and they try and kill this in response. Rats. Crunch. Ice, ice, baby. Do, 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 do. Is eliminate the best? That's so good. So eliminate the best black removal spell since Teferi's gone. I don't know. Heartless Act, I think it depends on what you care about, a crappy lawyer. Like, I think against aggro, Heartless Act and the other one tend to be a little bit better.
It's time to step out of the shadows.
It was such a good draw, just like one of the few cards that could beat my Fight as Ones. Like that and Vraska's Contempt. Is Dorat the best draw? Another feather would be pretty good too. The prowess bird would actually be decent as well. Hey, Naked Two Shoes. Thank you for the 12 entire months of support. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Is Cast Down still reasonable to the alternatives? Yeah. Yeah, there are, like, Cast Down and Heartless Act are probably some of the better 2-mana removal spells in the format for sure. Resource variance, gonna resource variance. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's right. 9 lands and 19 cards. A little bit above average, but not too far. Yeah, it's just part of the game. If you don't want to lose games to resource variance, definitely can't play Magic. Comes with the territory. Need to hit her, because otherwise she's gonna ult and kill me. They know I have this fight as one. Yeah, I expect Hour of Promise to see play if it's an Amonkhet remastered. That card saw play in a lot of the Field of the Dead decks in Pioneer. So they have your death. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Now they get to play Ashiok and bounce my perfect pet. I think we're on the 0 router at this point. Another land definitely does it. Are we not going to get the totality of Amonkhet in Remastered? No, Whiskey Dingo. That's why they call it Amonkhet Remastered. And they're not just saying, hey, we're printing Amonkhet now or Devastation. So, Remastered sets are a collection of cards from Amonkhet block that will be custom curated to create a tailored limited experience, as well as inject cards they want to have happen back into the application. Hey, Archmage, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. I really hope Nimble Obstructionist is in there too. It's a very, very sweet card. Hopefully most of what they cut is limited shafts, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, they do it that way. I just like haven't had any keepable 7s today. They mostly do it that way to cut down on developer time. Yeah, Amonkhet Remastered, I think it's the 14th. It's the Thursday before the open. 13th. No, I'm not planning to revisit Magic Online. For the time being, I'm planning to split my content between Legends of Runeterra and Magic Arena. Good time to sell that MTGO collection. I don't own any cards on Moto. Jin. All of my Moto stuff is from sponsors. Yeah, if I had to own stuff on Magic Online, we would have stopped doing that for content a long time ago. The fact that I have a sponsor that lets me do it is a big part of why I did it for as long as I did. Can you guys hear Haley through the door behind me, or is the RTX voice clipping her out pretty well? I don't think it's bumping up when I'm not talking, but Nope, sick. Like, I know we make fun of, like, what the voice does on occasion, but, like, it is really good software. Can $100 still buy Moto Time? Sure. Sure, I do like money. Okay, so if I draw a... So I get 3 looks at a God's Willing? Is God's Willing lethal? I don't know, let's find out. So this is, 10, 11, 12... Is God's Willing 1 short? I think God's Willing is 1 short. And then I'm dead next turn to Krenko plus Castle. Krenko's tokens plus Castle. The Goblins deck is very good even when it does not find... Even when it does not have Muxus, which is one of the reasons why I kind of hope they ban Muxus. I don't know. I don't have super strong feelings on Muxus either way. How am I supposed to sideboard here? And this is why I'm not sure I want the shocks in this deck either. Like, I'm looking at this board plan, and, like, I just have too many cards for this matchup. Okay, I cut these fight as ones, but, like, do I want these Grafdigger's Cages? Do I want these Disdainful Strokes? I'm at 18 threats. I guess I could trim threats, but that doesn't seem great. Maybe I'm just trimming 10th District Legionnaire because it gets mostly stonewalled on the ground. Keep Dreadhorde Arcanist because it flashes back my removal spells. Yeah, I think I want Cage. I just feel like I have too many cards for this matchup. I don't think I can cut any more threats. Pretty sure 16's like the floor on threats. I heard Magic got unbanned, so we got back. Thanks for the extra 15 months, Sniper. Alright. Seems sweet. Keepable 7s are overrated, chip. I think we kept 1-7. If I recall correctly. Okie doke. Okie doke. Thanks for the tier 2, JMK. I appreciate that. Yeah, daily arena content's back. We're gonna keep doing daily Runeterra stuff too. We're gonna do a little bit of both. Varieties of spice of life. Do you think this deck translates okay to Pioneer? I have no idea. Man, that's just some good clean deck building right there. I feel like this deck probably shouldn't be playing Cage. Like, I feel like I have a bunch of cards for this matchup as is, so, like, Cage seems unnecessary. I feel like if Cage is necessary for this deck, it's just like... If Cage is necessary to win this matchup, our deck's probably not playable. Those are real good. Actually, do I want the land? We'll just draw Feather next turn. I'm Reckless Raging here because this way next turn I can play Feather, use Dreadhorde Arcanist to flash back Reckless Rage, and then Feather will put Rage back in my hand. So I'm obviously aware that that could have died to Shock, However, I don't think that's the correct play because Feather's on top of my deck. Justin Mack! Thought last month was my last due to COVID, but I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving! Thanks for the 52 months. I'm glad you recovered. So we'll shoot the Prospector. Yeah, like, I mean, you know, and this is something that's kind of always been true. Like, Feather's always been good against creature decks that don't have removal spells. And this Goblins deck does not have a ton of removal in it. Eh, technically missed a point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the sake of the sideboard, I'm gonna try and cut these cages and bring in strokes here and see how those feel in comparison. I feel like these cages in the sideboard are probably unnecessary. Shock, Dreadhorde Shock would have been lethal, sure. Good catch. Is it a keepable 7? I guess we're like playing Jeskai gates against the aggro deck. I don't have a threat till like 4. They mulligan to 5. Fist pump. Feeling better about the sketchy 7. Just like we drew it up, fam. Almost took an extra damage there. Oh, I don't want to see outside my office? Why is that? I think we Justice Strike this, because Krenko. What'd you do? Cool, let me help. I like it. That's really cool. Alright, that could have gone worse. Definitely couldn't gone worse. For example, depending on what we get here, we'll probably Reckless Rage. Red Rover, let Ringleader over. Oh, they didn't attack. Sure, thanks. Let's not tap my red mana. Start with this. Yeah, maybe Grease Ball. Alright, they're missing that 6 mana. You'll notice I put a stop during my opponent's second main phase, so I could cast this before the turn ended. So that way I get it back for my next turn. Alright, the engine is humming. Okay, and then I think we're just passing here, right? Because they're going to get to Muxus next turn, and I just want to hold up double removal spells so I can kill their haste enablers. We shouldn't be dead to Muxus here. They have to hit triple haste goblin. Okay, and they got a redraw. This is part of the reason why their deck is so good. I'm gonna elect to kill their non-Muxus goblins here. Man, I'm gonna draw a protection spell here and be really salty that I didn't leave my white mana up when... God! Fuck this auto tapper, man. They've not missed lands. That's so frustrating. And now, oh, I lose my Reckless Rage, so I lost both the targets. God damn it. That's so frustrating. It's like are winning this game by like a literal landslide if we just like can have our mana up correctly. I should know better. It's just been a while. The auto tapper never prioritizes. It's good to see the their hand revealed bug still hasn't been fixed, by the way. It was showing 2 Muxes in their hand when they really had a matron. The deck constantly doesn't want to leave up red-white lands for whatever reason. That's not good enough. I have to draw Reckless Rage this turn. Nice upkeep stop, client. Quality upkeep stop. Just, Oh, Magic software. Oh, Magic software. So for people that aren't familiar with how that works is where the game is on the server side and what's currently displayed on your screen are not the same. They are frequently not the same. Need a Reckless Rage, because the auto tapper got us. I think we're like pretty close to 100% to win that game. If the, if we don't get auto-tappered out of the God's Willing there. Whoa! Keepable 7. Hands busted. Gully Seagull, thank you for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yep. I wonder if they'll take my Defiant Strike here since I have so many threats. That seems like a good play. What's going on, Himmy? Yeah, they banned a bunch of the bad cards. They banned Teferi. They finally decided that people having fun was more important than whatever statistics they were looking at, which is great. You love to see it. Tiamat, Chosen from Death, feels like a likely sign they're probably playing something more mid-rangey, as opposed to a controlling strategy, probably some kind of like Phyrexian Obliterator deck. T-Jev, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Alright, let's pay 4 here. Reckless Rage that. Play a Stormwing Entity out. Hey, thanks for 23 months, Cold Shoulder. I mean, yeah, of course you were crushing the ladder with Historic Reclamation. The deck was much better than everything else in the format. Welcome to Hoaglandia, Jev. Let's end up at 5 here because of the lifelink. I don't have any sweepers that can happen next turn, so I'll play Arcanist out here to be able to kill the blocker. We just assume they're an Obliterator deck and board in Justice Strike, right? I think that's probably likely. Shock's maybe not great. We're bringing extra Vanguard as a threat. Welcome back, Nandris. Welcome back. Yeah, Justice Strike, the creature deals damage to itself, so if you Justice Strike an Obliterator, they have to sacrifice 5 things. Yeah, it's just like when you Justice Strike, something that came up a lot when Lyra was standard legal. When you Justice Strike Lyra, the Lyra player gains 5 life, because Lyra has lifelink and she's hitting herself. Feels bad to mulligan against a Agonizing Remorse deck, but without double white, that first hand's just got to go back. Seems super reasonable. I mean, I don't really ever care if they reprint fetch lands. I don't ever really intend to play a fetch land format again. Fabled Passage is the closest thing I wanna put into play to a fetch land. Thanks for the 1.5 years, Pathfinder. Welcome back. What's up? Let me fixed up my screen. Not done yet? I thought you were gonna help her. I think we're just cycling this. Howdy, Aerodaz. Yeah, we're starting. For those of you that are not quite used to the new schedule, I've been going live about 11 a.m. Central Time, so we've been up for about an hour now. My plan is to do 2 Magic decks starting about 11 a.m. for the foreseeable future, and then 1 to 2 Runeterra decks after. So we'll do Magic from like 11 to 2, and we'll do Runeterra from like 2 to 4 or 2 to 5, depending on how much I'm looking to do in the day. That's a fantastic draw. Was it Teferi that pushed me towards Runeterra? It was a collection of things. Teferi was definitely part of it, though. Just kind of general frustration with the play patterns Magic had been having. I only have 1 card left. I think I just go ahead and play Feather here. Like, even if they untap and kill this, I can, like, use these with Stormwing to probably take over the game. And if they don't kill Feather here, then we just, like, win the game on the spot. I feel like my health total's low enough after protecting my, my Adanto there that I want to just jam Feather. Yeah, looks like that's gonna pay off. If they block here, I'm gonna fight as 1, because I want to get Stormwing Entity down anyways. In fact, I'm gonna fight as 1 just before damage here, because I want to cast Stormwing Entity this turn. I guess, do I? Or am I just Reckless Raging? Maybe I'm supposed to Reckless Rage and then Stormwing? Can I go either way? Maybe I'm supposed to prioritize taking this off the table this turn, because Grey Merchant's a card I probably need to be worried about. I'm just gonna go to 6 here. Obliterator, sure. Bye, Declan.
Look how awesome I am.
Look at you. You're so handy. My wife fixed my screen, chat. An animal had gotten caught in there and destroyed it before we bought the house, and we just like hadn't gotten around to fixing
It's
it.
starting to get hot upstairs. I thought you might be too.
Well, I think we're going to 1, chat. How do we beat Obliterator? We race it. Justice Strike is the other answer, but for now we're just racing it, I think. So this is an attack for 9 in the air, and then if they attack me and don't have some extra form of damage here, they're going to, they'll be dead on the backswing, so. If they have Grey Merchant, we are dead here, but outside of that, we're in a good spot. We have not gotten caps for the top of it yet. Need to do that still, too. So, dead to Grey Merchant either way here, so definitely just going to 1. No, I don't think so, Brightstar, because then we're bad against removal, and they're more likely to have spot removal than they are to have... They're more likely to have spot removal than they are to have Grey Merchant. Can you kill them in response to them getting the devotion? Yeah, I'm going to 1. Because this is attacking. Alright, so they're dead. The Obliterator has Trample, Pomoin. So I would have been down to 2. So blocking did not save us from. You can hang out and spin on the chair as long as you're quiet. I do hear baby sister a little bit. Merchant was lethal without them even attacking. Well, that's not true, because if I'm at 6, I can kill the Merchant in response to the trigger and only take 4. So the attack with Trample was the reason why Grey Merchant was a problem. Blocking played around Ayara. That's an interesting thought. Maybe that's worthwhile, playing around Ayara there. I don't know. Selfishly, I'm glad that there's schools in some places going back before my local districts go back. Because, you know, maybe if people see that these other schools can be disasters, some of the schools up here will be prevented from opening once they realize, hey, the predictions were correct. Ideally, none of them would be opening, but... The university in the town where I live had move-in week this weekend, so I'm sure all the cases in my area are going to be spiking up since we had people coming in from out of state and other cities in Illinois. The Walmart was a total zoo when we went to get our pickup order yesterday. Tennessee schools went back like a week ago. Oh, I didn't know that. Man, that's really early. I agree with the people saying even this week is early. I guess maybe some of them went back earlier than normal because they were out in the spring. Thanks for the 3/4 of your Mr. Polite. So looking for a Reckless Rage. I don't think my opponent's archetype is likely to have a removal spell, and if they do, it's likely to be exile removal, so these Fightest ones won't protect anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick the Naked Feather here. Yeah, well, I mean, that is the blunt reason, Corrosion, why Republicans are pushing to open things even though they know they shouldn't be based on the science. They're pushing to open things because they know many parents depend on schools as daycare, and the economy being open depends on schools being open so they can be used as daycares for a lot of people. And it's not even just a cost thing either, right? Because like there's even people who could like afford to have a sitter, but like you can't get sitters to come in if things are, you aren't supposed to have to be having people out, or like daycares are restricted in how many people they can take in. So it's not even just about a, you know, a money thing. There's so many different things that line up. It's not even just people that can't afford it. Yeah, the appropriate solution is what most other developed countries have done, which is pay people to stay home for an appropriate lockdown. So that way they can actually meaningfully curb the spread and then slowly, safely reopen things. So we're just casting our Defiant Strikes every turn here. Collecting some card advantage. If we can find a Reckless Rage, we will be in a great spot. So I think my plan here is cast this God's Willing for a Scry 1. And then if we Defiant Strike into Reckless Rage, we could start Reckless Raging. Yeah, there's that too, Roth. That's something Christy and I are struggling with too, right? It's like, not only do you need to, like, make sure you have the time allotted past being able to work to, like, educate your kids, making sure they're learning the stuff they need to be learning is also not trivial. And I'm in a better spot than most likely because, you know, not only is my job flexible, but like for people that don't know my background is I have a small education background at the very least. It was for teaching high school classes initially that I went to undergrad, but you know, it's better than what a lot of people have. All right, so let's scry. I'm in their second main phase right now because I want to get my spells back at the end of their turn. That's why you see me continuing to put a stop right there. We're bottoming anything that's not Reckless Rage at this point. Can't Defiant Strike that one anymore because I clicked Pro White. Reckless Rage! Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage! Alright, wrap it up. We're done here. Good talk. Good talk, chat. No, I said Reckless Rage, not Chocolate Rain. Okay, we're going to Defiant Strike this and smack them so we can get their health total down away from 35. Just want to keep that in check a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put Stormwing Entity down here as another blocker. You'll notice I put a stop on my end step. I did this so I can Reckless Rage again here before they untap. So move to the end of turn, get my stuff back. Pretty sure I actually want to kill the Giant Killer here. So that way I can't tap my stuff. Sure.
There is no greater treasure than quiet times with friends.
This is getting close to evolving. I do at least have a God's Willing here to give protection from white. No, it's coming back at the next end step. So Feather is the next end step, so when you Reckless Rage in your end step, it comes back on their end step. Now, they could plus the Ajani here to level up Sarah Ascendant if they'd like. I'm going to take variety game submissions for $50 still, Testy Fella, but with the asterisk that I'm not going to be returning to doing variety segments again until after the open on the 16th. And I've already got a small queue of things in there, so as a heads up, that would not be immediately played. We have a game, as they say. Just looking for second Reckless Rage at this point. Okay, so let's start with Defiant Strike. Oh, I forgot that was gonna happen. Huh? Okay, so what am I doing here? I could kill the Serra Ascendant by hitting them with Stormwing Entity and then Reckless Raging it. That's probably the line. And then this I'm fogging with my Fight as ones for the time being. So we send this here and we send this at their dome. And then before damage, we'll go ahead and Reckless Rage this. So this gets bigger and deals an extra point of damage here. Then when this hits their face, this will die because it'll no longer be above 30. I think I'm going to go ahead and shock this in. And then I think I'm just passing here. The question is, do I want to Reckless Rage something before combat? I don't think so. Or before they untap. I think the answer is no. Again, this game really highlighting the power of our deck against creature decks. We should have targeted Legionnaire. Yeah, good call. We'll do that. We'll do that now. We would have also gotten a Scry. I would be kind of surprised if Standard has a playable control deck before rotation, just because of how long it usually takes for a control deck to be found. Not only does God's Willing stonewall them, but God's Willing is also going to let us attack through their white creatures here. So, like, there's a good chance that we're going to kill them very, very soon. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. We're actually bottlenecked on red lands at this point, which is kind of funny. Hey, we'll keep that. We should discard to hand size so we can cast them with Dreadhorde Arcanist. That's funny. It's probably correct too, huh? Am I attacking with 10th District this turn? I think the answer is no. Can I kill them? This is 10, 11, 12, 13. This is plus 3, which is 16. This is plus 4, which is 20. This is plus 4, which is 24. This is plus 4, which is 28. 29, 30, 31, 32. Do I have lethal? 10, 13. Can I cast all those spells I just mentioned? I think the answer is yes. They don't have blockers. I have God's Willing. He doesn't gain one when he kills himself. I think I counted lethal. $27, $30, $32. Yeah, we're over lethal. Okay. Good stuff. Good chat. $30, $34. Easy game. Right? 29, 32. Thunk had 2 damage to spare, chat. Had 2 damage to spare. It's beautiful. Do-do-do. Maybe I don't want Justice Strike in this matchup. And that might be too much removal with the Flame Sweep, too. How's Jeskai faring versus Boros? I've never really been a fan of Boros Feather. I don't think there's a meaningful reason to not splash a color. I think if you're not playing Jeskai or Naya, you're doing it wrong in this format with Feather. State of the game is up. Sure. We've been playing this one for about an hour 20, so we'll finish this game. We'll do a quick wrap up. We'll take a peek at the state of the game together. So for people that want to go through that on stream together, we'll do that in just a minute if you don't want to click off. See, it's missing a blue source, but the spells are all good, so let's do it. That's actually super punishing. I should have shocked in my shotgun one. I was reading chat. Probably shocking the Soul Warden here before she triggers again. Drathmar, thanks for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. What's my opinion on Naya versus Jeskai? I think I lean towards Naya right now because Disdainful Stroke's a really good sideboard card. I've also been really impressed with the other flying creatures in this deck. Like the last game's a good example of like your evasive threats being really good. Currently, if you haven't been to my website, Jeskai Feather is my recommended feather variation. It's a little bit different than this one. I've got some ops in it. The shocks have been okay. I don't know if I've been sold on the shocks over the ops in the main deck. Alright, so long as they don't get this above a 4-4 here, we should be good to win this game. Sweet, Hodoken. Yeah, someone else said Runeterra patch notes. We're going to cover Arena patch notes in between these two decks, and we'll go over Runeterra patch notes for folks that play that game together when we start that segment a little bit later. We don't have a protection spell here, but we've got a backup feather, so it's not too big of a deal. Feather got us 2 Reckless Rages, all you could really ask for. If they kill this, we're going to just be spinning our tires here for a little bit till we find a blue source or another threat.
Everything will be fine if we stand together. I am proud of those who walk beside me.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get to the games listed in the variety queue. We're just not going to be starting with those until after the open on the 16th. Until the open happens, I want to lean into doing as much Magic content as I can while still doing enough Runeterra content for the people we picked up in that game. Chalky Chalkson, thanks for the 17 months. Just finished watching a much younger Jeff teach us a Lurin on the Professor's channel. With the gods willing here, this game is probably over. Even without the gods willing, the game's probably pretty close to done, but the gods willing gives them, gets them out of it. We had a pretty good run there overall. One of the match we lost to Goblins, we definitely would have won if I'd have been more careful with the auto tapper in the game 3. I feel like my one takeaway is, as constructed, this deck definitely feels like it has too many cards for the Goblins matchup, and I would be surprised if these Grafdigger's cages are necessary with this configuration. I feel like I don't know if I like the shocks here, so let me just, for reference, let's pull up the list on my site really quick to compare. If you haven't been to my site before, there's a bunch of historic decks up here that are sorted by power level, and you could search by color and archetype 2. Great resource for you or your friends if you're looking to get involved in some historic. So if you look up here, yeah, this build's pretty close to what we played today, except there's 4 Opts in it. And I really kind of like Opt in the Feather archetype. Feather as an archetype is definitely a deck that suffers from what I refer to as the wrong half problem, which is that you need both threats and cards like Defiant Strike and Fight as One to go with those threats, and Opt helps you find whichever part of that is missing. Yeah, but like, you also, like, these archetypes aren't really bad against things like tokens, Alex. Like, you have Reckless Rages and Shocks and stuff like that to interact in those matchups, and Disdainful Strokes even to counter their big plays. So, like, while Cage has utility in the format, the things Cage largely has utility against should already be reasonable to good matchups for Feather. I think I'm going to leave this list that's up on my site as my recommended variation. I think one change I'm going to make is with what's it called, band? With Reclamation Band, I'm going to cut one of these pieces of enchantment removal in the sideboard and start it over to a 3rd shock, although Stream Decker's going real slow, so it doesn't look like we're going to do that. We're going to do that right now. All right, let's take a look at the state of the game real quick. There we go. Yep, maybe. Yep. Something else I spent the morning fiddling around with too, which turned out great. On all of the decks here, when you click into them now, it shows you their colors and their archetypes and their power level here. And you can click on these different things on my site to find other decks in those same groups. So lots of good tools. I like good software, so I try to make sure my website is good software. All right, let's take a peek at the state of the game, huh? Let's get you pinned. That way I can stop clicking to pull you back up so I can keep reading chat.